So the Sally Ride Whole School Project was born really out of an identification of student need. What we're trying to do here at Sally Ride with Echo Parenting is to bring together the entire community, students, parents, the staff, the teachers, cafeteria workers, the custodial staff, the office staff, is to bring us all together as one community so that we can all use the same language. This year, working with Echo Parenting Education and 1,000 Joys, we've been able to create this environment, I think, in its very beginning stages, and I'm very excited about it. And I think that one of the biggest perks that we have this year, and as we develop in our communication or vocabulary development and how we communicate, is that the parents are more open to hearing their children because they're using the same vocabulary. The teachers and the parents are having much more impactful conversations. The teachers and the students are using Peace Corner. They're using morning circle chat. And these are strategies that are not just for directing behavior. It's actually for allowing students to express themselves, to be empowered, and to rejoice in the fact that they matter. They also have a Peace Corner. And the Peace Corner is where a student can go and sit down when they feel overwhelmed with an emotion. And that emotion sometimes can be negative, and they may need to simply cool down, reflect, relax. After just a few short weeks of working with Echo and seeing the teachers conscientiously talking to each other and saying, how did this work for you? How did Peace Corner work for you today? How did Morning Circle work for you today? I'm seeing students who recognize the fact that they need a timeout. They walk themselves over to the Peace Corner. They note that it's empty, and they will sit there. And that's why I think Echo has been so impactful for us. It's given teacher the tools that they need so that they can be more effective in the classroom. It's given students the tools that they need so they can vocalize what they feel, and they can also be empowered to take care of themselves in the classroom, thereby allowing them to get back to instruction and to learning. But the amount of trauma that children have to suppress in their own bodies can be paralyzing when they enter the classroom. And we think that our work with Echo has allowed students to develop the skills that they can keep for the rest of their lives. And I don't think we would have had as much parent participation, but we've had a really great response. And I think a part of that has to do with the fact that the parents feel they can talk to the teachers, not just about their children, but really talk to teachers in a normal conversation. And I think that's always been a divider between parents and teachers. They can talk about the children to a certain extent, but that's pretty much it. And that's not the case anymore. There's humor that's being exchanged now. One parent said at a meeting, I didn't know the teachers could be so funny, but they are. The parents and the teachers are now able to have much more in-depth conversations. They know each other better, and they know how to use the same vocabulary. At the very beginning, it was harder for the teachers to let go of the traditional system of how to communicate with parents and how to communicate with students, and even how to communicate with each other about the social emotional aspect of dealing with kids in their own classroom. It becomes very familial within the classroom. When we started our partnership, teachers started talking to each other and visiting each other's classrooms. We had an Echo training a few weeks ago on a Saturday that the teachers came to, parents attended, and they were able to sit in one of the rooms and hear a teacher talk about her experiences starting the Peace Corners, working with the students on how to gauge them. The teachers were filled with questions about how did that work and how did you do this? And I'm finding that more and more teachers have a much more collaborative sense of raising the children together. of educating the children together. Teachers are always hesitant at first to be the first ones to speak, but I find that as we've held more meetings, they're much more comfortable with each other, much more trusting of each other, and they will share ideas that normally a teacher wouldn't necessarily share, such as how do you talk to a child who has expressed a fear of whatever that could be. I don't want to go home because I'm going to get in trouble because I didn't do my homework. That may have been a subject that a teacher wouldn't have spoken to another teacher about because I'm just going to either deal with it how I best deal with it. To me, the response is, how can we help you so that the trauma may not end, but how you deal with it is what we can assist you with. There are things that occur in the world, but how you respond to it and how you allow it to impact you, that we can work through. And I think that to me is one of the most important points of working with ECHO is it allows students to be in control when all else around them may be in chaos. This year with the pilot program, we haven't had any discipline problems that I would say, we haven't had any discipline problems out of the ordinary. And before, we had a lot of out of the ordinary, because when kids are, I believe, when kids are going through trauma, they will exhibit behaviors that are erratic at times, but that don't allow them to learn. ECHO has been a school-changing factor. It has been a school changer, and I mean that in the most positive sense. It's allowed everyone to reflect upon themselves, to identify within themselves their humanity, and therefore see it in others. It's allowed students to once again be the focal point, as opposed to students being not the focal point, but their behaviors being the focal point. I think we do a really great job at Sally Ride in making sure that we have excellent teachers, excellent curriculum, a strong district that supports us. ECHO has brought back the humanity and has brought in the tools that we can implement right there for the students, for their parents, for our staff, to help us all be successful. I would love to be able to have the funding so that we could have more opportunities for more staff members to participate. I would love to be able to have it continue year after year after year after year, because I don't think anything can stand on its feet after just 1 year. It takes many years to go from lying there to running. As long as we continue with the classes, as long as we continue giving the teachers, the parents, the staff, the students the opportunities to develop and to communicate, I think that's the main resource that we need, is time that they can explore, that they can succeed, that they can fail and get up again and look around and see that nobody's judging and everyone's there ready to catch. A teacher that was having a great deal of difficulty getting the homework in, students were getting so anxiety filled because of the homework, and they didn't want to do it at home, and they knew that if they didn't do it, they were going to have to do it during recess, or they were going to have to not be able to have whatever the special activity was for the end of the day because they were going to have to do their homework. That creates a lot of anxiety for the kids. And having a teacher sit through one of how the brain works and how our brain teaches our body, and how we teach our brain to control, to handle emotion. And that teacher came to me and said, so what should I do? Because this is a problem. And I've got parents saying that their kids don't want to come to school because they didn't do the homework, and so they're saying they're sick. And I said, well, why don't you have a meeting about it? Talk to the kids and ask them how they feel, and then share with them how you feel. And go around and really have that conversation. The teacher has since then said, you know what, we realized that if we're doing a great job in class, and if we're using the homework to really just practice, then they don't have to worry about getting everything right in the homework. They're just practicing. And if they don't finish it, they're not going to be punished. And I think that really helped them release a lot of their frustration. So now in the classroom, they'll have their morning talk, they'll find out who did the homework, they'll say, I didn't get to finish it, but it's because, they'll be able to explain it, and that's all during the morning chat, just to get rid of the anxiety of the day. Everyone's outside playing, and they know that at the end of the day, the homework they're getting has been changed. It actually had an impact on how the teacher created the homework and what the content of the homework would be. So that was an enormous impact for that classroom and for those 24 children. The Sally Ride school-wide project is really about working together and creating the community of parents, teachers, students, learners, and incorporating trauma-informed education so that you can become, so that you can learn, so that you can cut through everything that separates you from being successful in the classroom and be learners. That's really my goal in this, is when you come to Sally Ride and you're using the strategies and the practices that ECHO has been sharing with us, you're going to be educated as a holistic child. And through the parenting classes, through the professional development, the strategies that are then carried into the classroom and carried into the homes, we know that we're creating a community of successful, self-aware, empowered human beings. They'll take the learning that they've gotten here, both academic as well as emotional, self-awareness, and carry it into the future, into whatever they do in life. Sally Ride Elementary has been working with ECHO, Parenting and Education, because we want to make sure that as a community, we learn to not only identify our feelings, but to develop effective ways to communicate them, thus creating an environment of strength, of acceptance, beyond tolerance, and a true community that as we grow will then be able to teach our students will teach their own children as they grow older. And I think that is one of the things that has made me very proud to see in the classrooms, to hear the parents talk about, is the sense of, I feel more empowered. I feel stronger talking to my child. I feel better at talking to my child because I'm not the one that's talking. I'm listening. And finally, to give someone the voice that they're looking to have, I think is the goal that we have at Sally Ride. And thank goodness for ECHO, we're creating that possibility of sharing it with the kids.